Nobody wins when the family feels.
Me and my engineer finally figured out how to record music over the jail phone and still keep the quality as professional as I had it on the street. It's over. I done cracked the fucking code, man. This means that not even these prison walls can stop me from dropping new music. It's crazy. That being said, man, I'm about to start dropping hot heaps of coal on y'all head top. You know what I mean? I'm dropping the all-new Free Tory playlist. It's going to be updated every week with new music that I'm recording from prison in real time. You know, this is the first of its kind. And although God has already showed me that this moment is only temporary, it speaks testimony to the fact that no matter where they put me, they can't lock down my spirit, my ambition, my soul, my passion, nor my destiny. Umbrella, I'll be home very soon. But in the meanwhile, Free Tory playlist on the way, you heard?
Oh, the chat spamming W's and Free Tories in the chat, man. They're hype right now.
Hey, yo, chat. Matter of fact, hey, yo, the chat is here, the chat is live. They spamming the W's and the Free Tories. Now, we got to do this right. Matter of fact, hey, yo, Alexa, play Mace, Welcome Back.
Oh, let me pull it up. I don't got the Alexa in the room. Wait. What? You got Alexa in jail?
We gonna let this ride for a second, Aiden. Hold on 1 second. We doing it right.
Actor and rapper Tory Lanez is being treated after being stabbed earlier this morning by another inmate.
Fam, yesterday we dropped a video on Tory Lanez that we took down because somehow people were still confused. Family members was asking what this had to do with Megan Thee Stallion. Some people just don't understand 2 + 2 = 4. So as mentioned, I took the video down. I know it's my job to break down why we putting out a story and what makes an old situation relevant to this new story. Now, of course, as I took it down, I saw platforms like 1090 Jake talk about the perpetrator, the person who actually stabbed Tory Lanez 48 hours ago. But why wasn't mentioned? And that's what we here for. Now, I saw a post yesterday from Tory Lanez saying evidence would be presented the following day to prove his innocence in a press conference. And of course, as mentioned, that was posted on his IG page. But mind you, that come less than 24 hours after it was reported he has been recovered from a hospital after getting stabbed 14 times, having his lungs collapse. And that proved to me the story we put out was right. But why not just wait for Tory Lanez to present the evidence so I can put it with this story? Because as we just mentioned, 2 + 2 do equal 4. Now, I wanted to be ahead of the curve by giving you guys that information yesterday, and at least what led up to him getting arrested a little more than 2 years ago for an incident that took place 5 years ago. But at the time, my family members was lost looking at the video. So as we took it down, we even found out more information about the perpetrator who stabbed him, why he was incarcerated. And now even in this video, we include that and also the press conference of the new information and evidence that prove Tory Lanez is allegedly innocent. Not to mention, we talked about who the alleged perpetrator is in the previous video, the person who got immunity for what we still don't know. But Megan Thee Stallion ex-best friend, Kelsey. It's a whole lot of developments since we even put out this video 24 hours ago, so I figured if you saw it within the first 2 hours before we took it down, skip the first 15 minutes of this video and you'll be caught on track. But if not, I want you guys to remember, I don't give you no angle, I just give you the story. So with that being said, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We're gonna jump right to it. Fan meet Tory Lanez. Through his songwriting / production, the Canadian singer / rapper has become one of the more difficult artists to try to box in, gaining a massive hit on a 90s R&B classic with Say It.
So mama, you know how, so you gon' need to do more than just.
It all set the stage for his full-length debut album, I Told You. Memories Don't Die followed in 2018, with Love Me Now coming later that year. Now during the pandemic in 2020, Tory Lanez came up with something called Quarantine Radio. Since everybody was in the house, he would entertain people on live. And one of his guests one day was Megan Thee Stallion. They managed to get over 40,000 people at once looking at one point in time. Check it out.
Peach emoji! Whoa! Hold on.
Official shot o'clock. Live right here on Quarantine Radio.
Quarantine.
This has just turned into Quarantine Radio in about 5 seconds.
Quarantine. Should we add people to the live?
At this point, I think maybe, you never know. This is a live shot.
Shot o'clock.
To the Stallion. Live in Quarantine Radio. It's been a while since we have said this voice. It's been a while. It has been a while. Megan Thee Stallion. Live. Taking shots of Reposado. The only place where you can go and not get touched.
Okay, since Tori is here.
Now, based on that video alone, you would assume they had a close relationship at least in 2020. But the same things came crashing quick in the summer of 2020. They attended a pool party, allegedly at Kylie Jenner house in LA.
We had to come kill the streets for 5 minutes. You said what? I gotta turn up the music, the PD just came right. Okay. Tori, don't get my phone wet.
Now here's where things get iffy. After leaving Kylie Jenner's Hollywood Hills home in July 2020, Megan Thee Stallion got grazed in the foot, and Megan Thee Stallion claims that Tory Lanez was the guy who pulled the trigger. Although, also inside their ride Uber was a friend named Kelsey, who was at the time Megan Thee Stallion's best friend. But although how Tory Lanez shot the gun is still unanswered. Not to mention it's been alleged that an altercation or argument took place inside that truck was because it was alleged that Tory Lanez has been exposed for messing with both Kelsey and Megan Thee Stallion, allegedly.
Where are your windows? Where are your windows?
Roll down all your windows.
Hollywood, you respond to Hollywood only.
Roger, it's going to be a new Cadillac S. License plate John Ocean Union 580.
Keep coming back to the sound of my voice.
And Hollywood, they can stand by any near La Brea and Hollywood or
that passenger step out of the vehicle. I see you. Keep moving. Okay, stop. Move a little to the right. Get on your knees.
stand by any near Hollywood and La Brea or La Brea.
Arms out, hold 69.
I know.
It's gonna be fine.
You see something?
Yeah, we got.
Yeah, it's over here.
Raj.
Same here.
Is it, had it gone to slide lock because it was empty?
Yeah, it looks like it. Is it warm?
Yeah.
It's warm to touch. Check the RAM. It's gone, huh?
Okay.
Hey, Walker. They need lighter.
It doesn't have anything.
Something?
Okay. I'm gonna just leave it open.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Now, shortly after Tory Lanez was arrested, and the person he called during his first phone call was Kelsey, Megan Thee Stallion's best friend. He felt comfortable enough to have her relay a message to his security to bail him out. Check out that conversation.
Thank you for using Telmate.
Hello.
Hey.
Y'all got out safe and everything.
Huh?
Y'all got out and everything. Y'all good?
Megan's still in the hospital. I'm outside the hospital.
What hospital y'all at?
About what?
You said what?
I said Megan's in the hospital still. I'm outside the hospital waiting.
What hospital are you at?
I don't know. Let me see. Feeder, something like that. Feeder.
Yo, bro.
Sure.
Regardless, I know she probably never ever gonna talk to me ever again, but bruh, I just want you to know, bruh. Nigga, I was just drunk, nigga. I just didn't even understand what the fuck was going on, bruh. Like, so whatever.
Yeah.
But regardless, that's not gonna make anything right, and that's not gonna make my actions right, bro. But I'm just deeply sorry, bro. I never even moved like that, bro. Like, never moved like that at all, bro. Like, for real, dog.
I know. There's a lot that happens, but
a whole lot, bro. Like, a whole lot, bro. I feel crazy, bro. But in this state, like, what happened already, bro. I can't take it back, bro. I'm just telling y'all, I'm sorry, bro. Like, I was just too drunk, bro. You know what I'm saying? When I got to the house, shorty, like, all top niggas, they gave me like 5 shots, like, off the door, like, you feel me? So I was out of there, like, wasn't even there with niggas, like, you feel me? We was taking shots past that time. I wasn't even there with niggas, like, bro. I don't even remember what we was even arguing about, bro. Like, you feel me? Like,
yeah, no, I was already fucked up by the time you got there, so I don't know how much.
It's like, but tell me what hospital she's in.
I told you, Cedar Medical.
Alright, you ain't got Quan's number, right? You ain't got my security number.
Quan, I do have his number.
Can you call this nigga Quan and tell this nigga, bruh, you get a chance, bro, just figure out what you gotta do to bail me out this shit.
Okay.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. I'm sorry again, bro. Like,
I think honestly, I think we're gonna try to, because obviously, like, the longer you're in there, the more hot it's gonna get, because it's already on, like, there's no names released yet, but the report is already out,
But like, out is what? What you mean out?
It's on some app. Megan's team is on top of this. So,
yeah, but like, niggas don't. There's no way that Megan's on like the thing.
What'd you say?
There's no way that Megan's like on the thing.
No. So far, none of that is there. But I mean,
yeah, I don't think it's gonna be one of those. If anything, the only nigga that's gonna get this backlash is me. It's not gonna be her.
Now, after Tory Lanez's team had rejected a 3-year plea, Tory Lanez was sentenced to 10 years in prison without the possibility of parole. He was convicted of felony assault for shooting and injuring the hip-hop star Megan Thee Stallion in July 2020. Lanez was convicted on December 23, 2022. Now, in December, it'll make 2 years out of that 10-year prison sentence, and already it's been reported that Tory Lanez was stabbed 14 times, including 7 wounds to his back, 4 to his torso, 2 to the back of his head, and 1 to the left side of his face. It's been reported that he allegedly was placed on a breathing tube, but now breathing on his own, and both of his lungs collapsed. The statement continued, despite being in pain, he is talking normally, in good spirits and deeply thankful to God that he's pulling through. He also wants to thank everyone for the continued prayers and support. The Canadian artist was attacked by an inmate inside California Correctional Institution around 7:20 a.m. early in the morning, according to a spokesman for the prison who talked with ABC News. The staff immediately responded, activated 911, and began medical aid. Tory Lanez was subsequently transported to an outside medical facility for further treatment. As of Monday night, the singer remained in the hospital. Now, the reason he was allegedly stabbed in prison, before we go over the details on who the attacker was and what the press conference had to offer, it's important to note that 10 days ago, or less than that, according to this press conference, the New York Post was about to publish an article on how Tory Lanez is innocent after receiving more information about the investigation. One thing led to another. The spokesperson for the New York Post indicated that they reached out to Tory Lanez rep, Kelsey's rep, Megan Thee Stallion's rep, and also the district attorney's office. The only person that responded last week was Megan Thee Stallion's rep and asking for more information. And suddenly, Tory Lanez gets stabbed in jail less than a week later. Now, on Tuesday, May 13, 2025, a spokesman for the California Correctional Institution in California have released more details about Tory Lanez's recent stabbing. The alleged attacker has been identified as Antonio Casio. Casio is 42 years old and was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for second-degree murder, first-degree attempt murder, and personal use of dangerous or deadly weapon and inflict great bodily injury in 2004. Now, apparently the person he attacked was his girlfriend. While incarcerated on January 3, 2008, he was sentenced to 6 years for assault by a prisoner with a deadly weapon of force, likely to cause great bodily injury in prison offense. Even though he already had life in prison, he was sentenced to 2 years for possession of manufacture of a deadly weapon for that incident. And 48 hours later, the leader of a nonprofit, the New York Post editor, and also Tory Lanez's dad has spoke up in a press conference via Fox News to disclose how key evidence that showed that Tory Lanez was innocent was swept under the rug, which now makes sense on why Tory Lanez will reject the 3-year plea. Check it out.
Good morning. We are here today to bring to your attention some information Unite the People believes is exculpatory in Mr. Daystar Peterson's case, professionally known as Tory Lanez. Recently, we've been made aware that a member of the media, Mr. Gianno Caldwell, was working on an op-ed for the New York Post regarding Mr. Peterson's innocence. During his work on that op-ed, he became aware of some information in Unite the People's possession regarding a statement that was given to Unite the People by someone with information relevant to that case. The New York Post recently reached out to the prior district attorney, George Gascon, Megan Pete and her representatives, and Kelsey Harris and her representatives. The only party that responded last week was Megan Pete's representatives with a request for more information. A few days later, Mr. Peterson's brutally attacked in his jail cell. Unite the People represents Daystar Peterson in his appellate process. We filed an appellate brief and a writ of habeas corpus on his behalf. The district attorney's office has already responded. The case is fully briefed. We're just waiting for the appellate court's decision. We were willing to wait for the appellate process to play out, but given that brutal, unprovoked attack, we felt it necessary to come here today to provide you with this information. It is our intention to make a request to the governor to either pardon or commute the sentence of Mr. Peterson, so that when he recovers from this attack, he's not returned to a jail cell, but that he's allowed to go home and recover. Not long ago, Unite the People was approached by a gentleman named Bradley James. Mr. James informed us he was working as the bodyguard and driver for Ms. Kelsey Harris during Mr. Peterson's trial. As such, he was in close proximity and he had privy to conversations she was having with her husband and others. Mr. James informed us he was not under a non-disclosure agreement or a confidentiality agreement and was free to speak with Unite the People, and that he was doing it because his conscience would not let him not speak and leave a man in prison for something he did not do. Mr. James informed Unite the People that he was witness to the conversation Ms. Harris had, where she stated she had the gun She fired it 3 times. Mr. Peterson grabbed her arm and knocked it down, and the gun fired 2 more times. In essence, Mr. Peterson never shot anybody, never even touched that gun, never fired the gun. This statement aligns with the statement of the only non-party witness to the case, Mr. Sean Kelly, who at trial testified he saw 2 women fighting, 2 men break up the fight, 1 man grabbed the other one's arm. Gunshots came from the passenger side. Passenger side is where Miss Harris was sitting. This further iterates that Mr. Peterson did not shoot Miss Pete, did not shoot at Miss Pete, or did not assault Miss Pete. It's just another irregularity in a list of irregularities in this case. For example, there were 3 potential suspects in the car that night, and yet the only DNA sample was taken of Mr. Peterson, even though unknown DNA was found on the gun. Why wasn't Miss Harris's DNA taken? Or was it taken and the information simply never given to the defense? Why wasn't the driver of the car, Mr. Jaquan Smith's DNA taken? Or was it taken and again, simply not given to the defense? We don't know. It should have been taken. It is Unite the People's understanding, regular LAPD practice at a crime scene like that, anybody who's there, the DNA is taken. Another irregularity. Why, at Miss Harris's police interview, was a non-lawyer, non-family member record company executive allowed to participate? Highly irregular situation. Normally, we see cases, strangers are not allowed in these things, but it was in this case. All of these things point to the highly irregular nature of his trial and his conviction. It is our contention that he was wrongly convicted. And while we at first were willing to let the process play out, it is our contention now that if he is not pardoned or released promptly, he may never come out. And that would be the ultimate injustice, is that he gets killed in prison for something he did not do. At this time, I'd like to bring up Mr. Gianno Caldwell, media member who was working on that op-ed for the New York Post. Thank you.
Thank you, Walter. Good morning. Thank you for coming today. My name is Gianno Caldwell. That is spelled Gianno, Caldwell, Caldwell. I am the founder of the Caldwell Institute for Public Safety at caldwellinstitute.org. I am also a member of the press for almost a decade now. I've been looking into Daystar Peterson's case for almost 6 months now, professionally known as Tory Lanez. And after reviewing the evidence, the reporting, and the legal analysis, I've come to the conclusion that Tory Lanez was railroaded by the former district attorney, George Gascon. He was also wrongly convicted. I believe if Jesus Christ was Tory Lanez's attorney, George Gascon would do whatever in his power to ensure that Tory Lanez lost that case. Tory Lanez's defense team have alleged the withholding of exculpatory evidence, prosecutorial misconduct, among other issues that I was compelled to write an opinion piece for the New York Post. It is true that last week, the New York Post editors reached out to 3 parties, one being George Gascon, Megan Pete's team, and Kelsey Harris. It is also true that Megan's team was the only ones that responded back for that request for comment. I had some glaring questions, and that was the reason for this op-ed. Things didn't make any sense to me, many issues in this case, and I was shocked by the lack of interest from the media to ask very simple questions. There were multiple people with gunshot residue on their hands that night. Why didn't all individuals have the residue tested, their DNA tested on the weapon? That's a legitimate question. According to the prosecution, Tory was excluded from the clip of the gun, and according to Tory's defense team, they said DNA analysis showed that there was a 0.01% chance that Tory touched the actual gun itself. Another piece that stood out to me, the call that the prosecution alleged Tory made confessing to a crime. I listened to that call. I'm sure many of you have as well. I didn't hear a confession. But what really shocked me about it is if my best friend was shot maliciously by someone just 2 to 3 hours before, I wouldn't have answered the call, or if I did, I wouldn't calmly have a conversation with the individual of it. And certainly I would ask, why did you shoot my friend? And more importantly, I would never have given you my current location out of fear of you finishing the job. That was something that stood out to me. I also, in my op-ed, discussed Kelsey Harris pleading the Fifth Amendment. She wasn't accused of anything by Megan Pete or the police, and to my knowledge, she wasn't under any investigation. So why plead the Fifth? What also shocked me is the prosecution gave her immunity. For what? What did she do? Is there an allegation of her doing something? I'm not aware of that. Maybe some of you can answer that question today. During the time of trial, George Gascon, just to take you back to where we were at that particular point, he had just barely won a recall attempt. He lost support in many key demographics of voters. Crime was up in Los Angeles County. And this case would have been a silver bullet for him potentially winning. His policies obviously were bad and people were harmed. So that didn't happen, and thank God it didn't happen. At the heart of this injustice is the misuse of gun enhancement charges, a sentencing tool intended for the most dangerous and violent offenders. In Tory Lane's case, these enhancements were not supported by evidence. But George Gascon, interestingly enough, who is someone who regularly would drop enhancements or not recommend them, chose to provide enhancements to Tory. And in his case, in any given situation, according to legal analysts I've spoken with, he would do 1 or 3 years if he did it without the enhancement. That's interesting. Why did George Gascon choose to pursue these enhancements? You know, there's cases I've been looking through which George Gascon has pursued, many in which he utilized these enhancements. A couple come to mind that I would like to reference here. One, Raymond Danger Gonzalez, a Mexican mafia gang member involved in a premeditated murder of 2 young men in 2017. Despite the brutality of the crime, Gascon didn't recommend enhancements. You premeditated murdered a teenager and another individual, brutal crime. Why would you recommend enhancements, but you would recommend them for Tory? That doesn't make a lot of sense. He also didn't pursue sentencing enhancements for the senseless murder of General Hospital actor Johnny Victor in Los Angeles in 2024. There's a lot of issues with this case. Many I think that the media should be pursuing all angles of it. We should not allow there to be unanswered questions. We should pursue open questions without fear or favor to anyone. That includes Mr. Tory Lanez. In his letter from the Birmingham jail, Dr. Martin Luther King wrote, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. If we take those words seriously, we must act when injustice is allowed to fester in plain sight." I founded the Caldwell Institute for Public Safety after my innocent teenage brother was murdered in Chicago on June 24, 2022. I stand firmly for public safety, for victims' rights, and for holding criminals accountable. But justice also demands that we protect the innocent and stand against politically motivated prosecutions. This is what I believe to happen here. When we imprison the innocent while violent offenders walk free, which is what George Gascon has often done, we undermine the very foundation of our legal system. Mr. Peterson was never given a fair trial, free from bias, political interference, and media-driven pressure. His continued incarceration erodes public trust, and diverts focus from the real work of keeping our community safe. Further, while incarcerated, Mr. Peterson was recently stabbed in prison, as many of you know, a tragic incident that underscores the urgency of this situation and the risk to his life while this case remains unaddressed. Governor Newsom, I respectfully urge you to issue a pardon for Daystar Peterson, known as Tory Lanez, in a full and impartial review of his case. California must not be a state where justice is driven by headlines instead of evidence. And in the case of George Gascon, that was often the case. So I encourage everyone here to go to caldwellinstitute.org, CALDWELL, Institute, INSTITUTE.org, and sign the petition. This petition asks for the governor to pardon Tory Lanez. Thank you.
Now you got the full story, fam. You know why he got arrested. You know why he got stabbed and why he's fighting to get released. Where you guys think Tory Lanez go from here? Do you expect him to get a pardon? Not to mention his sentence was 10 years without possibility of parole. It's crazy to know he got such harsh sentence with so many loopholes in his case. Which makes you ask again, Kelsey got immunity. Really, why? And now that she do, did she just escape attempt murder? Let me know how you guys feel about this one in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Until then, I'll catch you guys on the next one.